I don't see anyone from National Park Service here, so we can move that towards the end, if that's okay with stuff.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. So we'll move on to item number 2, surplus, public works vehicle 2004 to F350. And also Main Street damage mural and old signs. Council discussion.
Don't know about the Main Street signs, but we do have a bunch of old signs that we probably need to start looking at and trying to figure out. We also got a lot of signs walk. So we're looking at, we also got a lot of signs that are coming up by weekend too. So,
Robert's that sign, it was an old mural that the city had commissioned, and they had it in storage, and by being in storage, it was damaged. So it's just a plywood that has a mural on there, so that's what that is. And then those historic signs are like those old, like beige signs with the green wording on it. So they've been in storage, no one has used them for like years now.
and we wanted to
Surplus them so we can trash, not necessarily trash them, but dispose of them. Yes.
There's 13 sheets of plywood, 3 old historic district signs, and 5 current historical certificates.
that's it.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's under today.
that's it.
All right, moving on to item number 3. There's an agreement with East Alabama Regional Training Commission for the Anniston Express and ADA Parent Transit Services. If I'm not mistaken, that is on our consent agenda. Yes. Any questions, concerns?
So with that, I had some concern about it. So this is just basically a door-to-door service.
I think you said.
You don't need to talk too loud.
I'm sorry.
I apologize. So this is door-to-door service. Are we?
Well, it's the transit system that we already have, so it's just a renewal of that contract.
Okay. As far as the ADA part is ADA added, correct?
No, it's always been ADA compliant.
Oh, okay.
So if you have like a wheelchair, you're able to access this first.
Of course, we okay. The reason I didn't mention anything, how long for the day that we could possibly extend the hours on the transit? Reason being, we have a lot of people that use the transit that work in a lot of these restaurants, and they said they get off at 10. We only have one taxi. Good luck in trying to find somebody, we stop at some time and understand why, but just futuristic maybe move those hours to this point. That's all.
Any further discussion?
And Mayor, I will note that Dr. Hurts is here with the National Park Service. I don't know if you want to wait or if you want to allow him to present now.
Not necessarily, but I'd like to present.
Okay. And Mayor, he does have a presentation on the slide. I don't know if you have it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I have a couple of other guests. So,
Yes.
okay. I agree.
Dr. Hertz, we're going to see if I have a dongle adapter for your USB.
Oh.
Because if I do, it is, yes.
Okay.
Had I known, I would have brought one.
That's laid plans.
Do you have it in any type of PDF or virtual file that you can text me or shoot over to me or email to me? You have access to your email.
Do you have where you can email this to him? Because I don't know if he can do this. I'm sure.
We'll see.
Well, while you guys are figuring that out, we'll continue
Okay.
with some items.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
so we're not And then as soon as you guys make the presentation, we'll just move forward with you if that's okay. Okay. That's okay. All right, number 4 is a discussion on administrative issues based on the 2024 zoning update. So in your packet, there were letters from our fire marshal pertaining to some parcels of land that are owned by Cullen Properties LLC. And it's just changing the zoning from one to suburban edge. And I think the other one is urban center.
Well, I should be able to get into it.
Here
you go.
It was just an administrative issue.
And if you will have any questions.
So in the packet, there are letters from Jason. The first issue was the land owned by McClellan Properties LLC. There was a zoning conflict due to the 2024 zoning adoption. During the zoning process, a portion of the land owned by McClellan Properties were labeled wrong when the map lines were adjusted. So to fix that error, Jason is suggesting that we allow the rezoning, change the zoning of that property to suburban edge. There's an additional parcel of land that was owned by Red Partners LLC, similar to the same issue, and would be changing those zoning boundaries to urban center 1.
These properties are already in use, they're already being used. Based on the.
They have plans for development, if that's what you're asking. I don't know if you can say there.
But they're not currently being used.
I don't understand.
I guess what I'm asking, are they currently being used outside of their zoning?
No,
Okay.
no.
Are they being used in accordance with what the fire marshal is,
The plans are for them to be used. Am I heard that?
What it is when we had the zoning map done, some of the boundary lines did not match where they were supposed to be. There's no rezoning, it's just getting them correctly into the suburban edge of the UC1 zones. So that the intended use for the property can take place. Because with the boundary lines as they're listed right now that are incorrect, the uses that they want to do they won't be allowed in those zones. But it was just a misprint on the mapping, so we're just adjusting from what the mapping, into what it should be.
It's not a modification of the actual map.
No,
Just a
it's not
correction.
rezoning, it's just a correction.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. All right, we do have some FY25 budget amendments that will be on the consent agenda tonight. Item A is authorizing a donation to Anniston High School for student extracurricular programs. I have money left over in my travel budget that will not be used, and so I wanted to issue a donation to the Anniston High Theater Club for $1,500, as well as our track, Anniston High School track team for $1,500.
I'm not using mine either. And so your city is welcome to transfer mine as well to the school they need it. If you want to wait and decide where it needs to go, we can do that.
Well, I will say that
Can that happen now? Can that happen from Law 1 or June 3rd?
So, what I will say is the Anniston High football team are asking for sponsorship donations. So maybe that's something we can discuss. We have to get with Bruce to ensure that it's an eligible use of public funds. And then we could add that to the next few questions.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's what I would like to do since I didn't know we do that, but he's got sponsorship that from the from the coach
Oh, you can't send
today, and
It's the same thing.
yeah,
So we could add everything to do that.
right. Well, what I'm saying is the Cardinals sponsor was $2,000. I mean, it was, I think it was really nice. We don't want to,
Yeah.
because I haven't used anything in my travel with
I don't think I've used anything.
except that 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
All right, I'll show you that and
yeah, so that's good.
have on our next.
And I'm going to learn from, okay, it's Anniston City, I'm having a little finger.
It's a non-profit.
Okay, that's not, it's not because she wants us to sponsor meals for the football team.
Well, we have the
Perfect.
discretion
There we go.
to determine public use, but would have to pay for some of that.
Well, let's just do what you're saying.
If we're supporting, if we're saying, hey, we want to, with our unused travel funds, support the football team, through their sponsorship, or I think that's a very good.
That's fine.
To support them.
That, so. I kind of try to be as consistent as possible. I have seen the game both ways, but if we ever get in a situation where we're going to feed, or even, especially feed the football team, we'll just say, the Anniston High School football team, I would go right to extend that same privilege to the teams. I'm just wondering, feel like if we can do something for one, we should be able to do something for others.
We actually do that every year too. So we do.
Yeah. I mean, I have definitely coach once and I don't, this we're talking about our children, and I don't really do it, so we do it to this deal, our children. That's fine.
All right, I'm gonna do the last two legislative amendments and then we'll move forward with to give their presentations. Item B is reflect donations within Parks and Recreation Department. Ms. Bass, would you like to try to explain what that is?
Yes, in the end of your packet, there should be copies of the checks for donations. And so basically, these donations were submitted to the city on behalf of the park department, and that's just to show you all where those funds will be used for.
And it's pretty much the same thing for the only potential parks. So, any questions or concerns? All right, before we go to item 6, we'll go ahead and let National Park Service go ahead and give their presentation.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Citizens of Anniston and friends here at the city. Really appreciate you all giving us time to come in and share some updates with you about Freedom Riders National Monument. I am Dr. I am the superintendent of the Freedom Riders National Monument, as well as Birmingham Civil Rights National Monument. And title of our presentation, coordinating with our gateway communities. You all are one of our gateway communities. That's the parlance that we use within the National Park Service to speak of the communities that surround the park or that the park is situated in. So we have some special updates about that, given the new administration and some of the Secretary of the Department of Interior, and what they are saying that we need to do to coordinate with our gateway communities. So next slide. So as I mentioned, administratively, we oversee both Birmingham Civil Rights and Freedom Riders National Monument, 2 parks an hour apart, and we try to combine the work as much as we can, and we do that primarily through partnerships, and that's a major thread that runs through this presentation today in the conversation. So we'll talk about, kind of give the overview of the park and the gateway communities, and then give these updates in these order. And then leave some time for Q&A afterwards, although I'm sure you all may be heading to another session after this, so we won't keep that too long. Okay, go ahead, Kevin. And this is a copy of our foundation document. All parks have a foundation document. You all may know, I don't know how many of you all know about the Freedom Riders National Monument. So first and foremost, let me just kind of put that out there, that is right here in Anniston, and that it was designated as a national monument in January 2017, one of the last acts of President Barack Obama. And so as part of the whole process of establishing parks, setting them up, standing them up, is doing these foundation documents that identify fundamental resources and values and interpretive themes. And so that's what you see here. I highlight, again, partnerships because a lot of the work that we do and are doing has been and will continue to be through partnerships. It's very essential that we work with our gateway communities and our partners like the city, like the chamber, like the county government, like the Anniston Museum and Gardens, and several others. We'll hear more about that in a moment, to do the work that we are doing so that we can serve the public broadly, nationally, and internationally that come here to learn more about the Freedom Riders story right here in Anniston. Next slide. And so, if you do not know station identification, this is where the bus depot, the Greyhound bus depot, is located, where the events of 1961 unfolded before going out to the bus burning site, right here in downtown Anniston. And I'm going to let Kevin give you our Park Ranger Kevin. He is the one and only that we have here. We are a small and mighty team. We have 2 Rangers in Birmingham and then have Kevin here. He's going to give you an update on some of the improvements that have been made to the bus depot, as well as the bus parking site. So, Kevin?
So we've been, we weren't really in business for a while, and we've been trying to update the depot, the bus burning site in a number of different ways. When we got here, the awning was kind of in rough shape. Our freedom rider sign was pretty faded, and we updated both of those. Awning was in February. We replaced the sign in June, so that would look a little bit nicer, a little bit spiffier. We just actually replaced the roof. We had been trying to use some patches, but it just seemed to be pushing the water around. Ultimately, we just needed a full roof replaced, and it seems to be doing much better. We're better able to use the space without having to avoid certain areas because of dripping water. Come on. There we go. We've got some other changes that are kind of in the works. Well, we've added some, we found some drop down to some panels to kind of make things look a little bit nicer there. We added some painter's tape to highlight some of the important structure in 1961, especially for folks getting off the bus, what it would have looked like, what it would have felt like to help kind of paint that story. We're currently closed because our cooling system has been out for a couple of weeks. We are hoping that maybe as early as sometime this week we're going to have that installed. We have it currently planned. Hopefully it will hold and we'll be able to be open by next week. We are currently looking into converting an old office that we hadn't been using in large part because of the water leaks into a break space for staff. And we are currently working on trying to designate some staff parking areas behind the visitor center and we're looking at the ADA parking just out front of the next building over the Bureau building. This may be something we're going to be talking to you a little bit more about. We have been having some folks parking in that parking lot in a way that was kind of obstructing a lot of it. We're going to try to put up some signs and see what happens, but we might have to talk about enforcement at some point down the line. The things I really want to talk about with people, though, that I really want to highlight, though, are we're continuing to plan for the renovation. Inside this building, you can see it looks kind of rough. And, ultimately, we want to restore the interior of this building to help strip out the walls that weren't there in 1961 to kind of reset the appearance. And you can kind of see that in a lot of places, just by looking at the floor, we can kind of piece together what was going on at that time. So we're going to try to do that renovation. That is still looking a little ways out, but we are working on that quietly behind the scenes. And I've been also working on rebuilding our volunteer program. So you might be hearing a little bit about reaching out and seeing if there's anybody who wants to volunteer and help. There's a couple of different opportunities we're looking at. Ultimately, trying to stretch my reach as one person out a little bit further with the help of folks who are willing to work with us. Bus burning site, just outside of town here. You might have noticed way back in December, we had that sign. We replaced it, and then about 2 weeks later, the nice, big, more official looking sign was put in as well. Really big step up, same problem we had at the depot, kind of just had faded over time. And the county was helping us with installing a parking lot. We had some gravelly areas along the side of the road. There were some holdups to that, some small issues. This is going to provide us some better opportunities for drawing folks in and giving them a designated place to park. That kind of ties into what we're going to continue to do there. We've been having conversations about installing a vehicle counter. We've been talking about installing some identity signs to help folks identify that as part of the Freedom Riders National Monument. We've been looking to install some signboards to help further the story and help orient folks to that site. And the next big event coming up is on September 9th. We are, you might have been familiar with our last presentation from about a year ago, kind of gathering, getting the public scoping on thoughts and ideas. This is going to be presenting a master plan and several different alternatives, including a preferred alternative, and getting public feedback on that. There's going to be a day meeting for stakeholders, which include this group, and then there's going to be a public event in the evening at the, I think it'll be at the Best Depot. We're still working out some of the details, but this will be coming out shortly, and hopefully you'll be seeing more about that. We're also working to replace the exhibits inside. Right now, the exhibits we acquired, they were secondhand exhibits. They do a great job of talking about the freedom riders, don't cover Anniston quite as well as we might like. And ultimately, even good exhibits need refreshes over time. And so we are working with Trust for Public Land to replace these exhibits, and ultimately the goal is to have those in the depot once it's renovated. These will continue to serve us until the renovation, and maybe even a little bit after the renovation, until those new exhibits are ready to go in. And we're going to probably have public comments on those exhibits down the road a little bit as well. We're also working on an oral history project. You might have heard a little bit about this. We've been interviewing some folks connected to the civil rights movement here in Anniston and connected to the freedom riders in various different ways. This was taking place. We've got a few more interviews that are wrapping up with that, but overall we're looking pretty good on that, and we might be having something to share about that down the road. You've also may have seen us out and about with a couple of community events. This was in Zinn Park. I'm blanking on the name right now, but on the same. Yeah, but then we have on the same day at the same time we were also over at the Berman for their event tied to Juneteenth. Here we are at a John Lewis event just around the corner from our facility. It was an event taking place, kind of talking about causing a little bit of good trouble. And I think the last one, here we are at the Rails to Trails event that took place a few months back. We were a part of that. Dr. Hertz was speaking, the depot was open, kind of getting the name out there and kind of providing activity. I think that is.
Yeah, I will.
And we've also been starting to reach out and do some special programs, school groups of all different sorts, and church groups and various groups that are coming to the site, providing an interpretive opportunity. We don't have a lot of scheduled programs right now, just because our visitation is a little low, and in fact, our staff is a little low, but when we do have people, we either provide informal or we try to arrange ahead of time if we know they're coming, so we can do outreach in the classrooms and at the site.
So thank you, Kevin. Yeah, it's through, again, collaboration partnerships that we were able to do a lot that we have done with such a small but mighty team. And one of the things that we're now looking at, we've had the pleasure of hosting the National Parks Business Plan Internship Consultants with us this summer. This is a competitive program for our parks. We have to apply for this support, and we were selected out of 6 parks to have the consultants here in Anniston and Birmingham. So these are the other 6 parks that hosted those consultants. They are actually developing an organizational partnership plan for our parks. So again, that focus on partnerships. How do we do partnerships? How do we define them? How do we do them efficiently? How do we evaluate them? And so we are actually have 2 of our consultants with us right now, Lynn and Hannah, and they're going to come up and just kind of do an update on what they've been doing with this very important project.
Hello everyone, thanks for having us today. Just a quick introduction, my name is Hannah. I'm currently a graduate student at Boston University. I'm really excited to be here for the summer working in Anniston as well as in Birmingham.
Hi everyone, quick intro. My name is Millie Roberts. I'm also a graduate student at Harvard. Hannah and I did not know each other before this internship, but it was just a coincidence that we're both spending the summer here down in Boston. We'll move to the next slide.
Yeah, great. So this is a slide that we made to really try to show the partners that exist in both of these communities. As you can see, there are a lot of incredible supportive partners, some local governments, some organizations, some other historic sites. And as part of our project, we've really been trying to do outreach and talk to as many people as we can. So we've chatted with about 30 people so far from a variety of different sites in Birmingham as well as in Anniston to collect feedback from people about what has it been like to work with the Park Service? What are the successes that you've seen? What are some of the challenges that people have faced? And what are people really looking forward to and expecting as we move forward into these exciting new developments that we have coming up at the park?
Yes, we just want to really say thank you. There are folks in this room who are part of our interview process, and we really appreciate the warm welcome from the community. We know this has been a process that started even far before the designation of the national monument, and so hearing those stories and hearing about how excited the community still is to move this forward and to really fully realize the potential of the national monument has been really an honor for us to be here. So as Hannah said, we're in the final stages. Our last week is next week. So we're furiously typing away to get down all of the information that we learned. And we'll be sharing those documents internally with Dr. Kurtz and the rest of the team. And then portions of it we're actually hoping to be able to share externally as well to talk more about how this team approaches partnerships and maybe even some of the tools that the team will be using moving forward to evaluate when something could be a great fit for both parties. So with that, just another thank you. And I'll get it back to Dr. Kurtz.
Thank you all so much. We're going to miss you all terribly. So just to wrap up, and I just want to make sure you all are aware there's a lot of acronyms in the NPS. Does anyone want to guess what that means? Freedom Riders, FRI, Birmingham Civil Rights. Just give a little insider knowledge about how we code our cars. But this is our universe of partners. This is who we collaborate with. And so as we move forward, I mentioned that I talked about the Secretary of the Department of Interior, and there's a Secretary's order out right now about coordinating with our gateway communities. Not that we haven't been doing that already, but it has now been concretized and made formal that all parks are mandated to do this. And so we are actually at the forefront of this. I will tell you, we're one of the leaders within the Park Service. And so with this partnership plan and the work that we've been doing, the improvements that Kevin talked about, we aim to help this gateway community and ourselves, all of us, create a better quality of life, bring in tourism, create education opportunities, tell this story, this very important American story of the Freedom Riders. And so, that is the conclusion of our presentation. Does anyone have any questions? Burning questions?
I do have one question.
Yes.
So I saw that the city of Birmingham has a formal agreement.
Yes.
Why? I'm just curious.
I knew you were asking.
Being that we do not, I'm curious what the differences are. Is it something that we should be doing or not doing?
It's an excellent question. So the AG Gaston Motel, which is the site where we are located in Birmingham in the Civil Rights District, it is co-managed by the National Park Service and the city of Birmingham. So that necessitates having an actual written agreement with them about how we're going to manage that site. Technically, I would say for a number of years, and again, this is before my time, the Chamber of Commerce was the visitor station for the Freedom Riders National Monument. There could have been an actual agreement there because of that relationship. It doesn't mean that there can't be some kind of formal partnership with the city of Anniston, but it would have to be something tangible that ties the two entities together for something to be written up like that. But excellent, very astute of you. My stolen sister, I would give her a shout out. But no, that's very astute of you to point that out. But it does not mean that we can't collaborate and do the things that we're doing. It just means in that case that we have an actual formal room in the city of Birmingham to run the Gaston Motel.
And we've already been having some conversations, especially as they wrap up. We've already been talking a little bit about the need to formalize a few of our relationships, and yours was near the top of that. So we made that maybe a conversation we're continuing in the next few months.
Yeah.
I have a comment, it's not a question.
Yes.
I was here whenever the appeal was made to President Obama to create a national monument, and it was very ironic to me that it was an auditorium in Anniston, huge auditorium. Were you there?
Yeah, I was one of the students that spoke.
Oh, you were one of the students who spoke. There were so many students who spoke on behalf of this cause. And what was very ironic to me is many of these students were likely descendants of the perpetrators of this horrific event. And to think, yes, racism still exists, but we've come a long way since those days. And so anyway, I applaud your effort. I thank you so very much.
And I applaud you all right back, because it was this community that really rallied around it and made it happen. There was work happening here in Anniston as well as in Birmingham, even before the National Park Service got involved, and I think that really necessitated MPS or substantiated MPS being involved. So bravo to you all who all have been involved in helping to preserve and tell the story for years beforehand. So thank you for that. One thing I should also mention to wrap up is that we will be planning to have kind of regular community stakeholder meetings, again, as part of the Secretary's work. That is something that we're mandated to do on a quarterly basis. And so again, as we look back, keep going back to this map, because they did that. Give them a round of applause. They did a phenomenal job mapping this. This did not exist beforehand. And to see it now graphically represented, it helps tremendously, because we're talking about having these stakeholder meetings. Well, we want to make sure that all of these, plus maybe some others, are represented at the stakeholder meeting. So to have it up there, it really helps us to check those boxes. So you all will be hearing about those stakeholder meetings, but we wanted to come to City Council and definitely start this conversation and raise you all's awareness of it. And I hope to see you, Mayor, and maybe all of you all at the next meeting that we plan to have. Again, any other final questions?
Dr. Hurts, I work just across the street from the National Line.
Oh, yes, you do. I remember seeing you. Yes, sir. Okay.
Kevin said it's really been nice to see the efforts that have been made recently, where we're kind of floundering for a few years. There are so many people that's astonishing, and people don't realize how many people are visiting the monument, how many people are coming to Anniston from all over the world every day, weekly, but every day. So I really applaud your efforts, Kevin. You're there working your tail off. And so you're just really paying off. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I see you crossing.
That's right.
What business is that you're on?
It's Downing's. It's just not families, but
Family. Okay. Yeah.
but we're there watching.
Yeah. Your presence, eyes on the street. All right. Any other? Going once, going twice? All right. Thank you all so much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so much.
it. Thank you.
All right, we will move forward. I believe we're on item number 6, the election of vice mayor. That is on our consent agenda. It is to appoint Councilmember Roberts as our vice mayor until the new council comes. All right, moving on to item number 7. This is also on the consent agenda. It's just appointing election officials for the municipal election at the different precincts on August 26th. And they're all in the packet.
And there will be one change to the election officials. Miss Jackson will not be able to assist at this election season, so her name will be removed, and then she was at Carter's mother.
Okay, all right, perfect, thank you.
So with the election, I know, should we have, did we get our members out there who want to lose? Or was that part of our deal? We have, because of what we brought up to this.
If we were to specifically, in the past election, we were at Refuge Church, and those individuals are now moved to the Anniston Regional Training Center, and so all of those individuals did receive postcards letting them know that would be their new location. But citywide, postcards are not citywide.
Only where.
Just where the
Change the rate of it.
But that was the only change to the other location for the city.
But I'm saying the location to be changed, or we drew the line.
So you want to change more,
Yeah. We.
what would be the possibility of us issuing ballot order cards to the city?
We can, it's just the cost to do that. So it was around $13,000 for direct mailers for the entire city and there's a certain amount that's budgeted for the election. So that was the reason behind it.
We need to
Well, so, I don't think we need to sit out for regular to every voter in the city. I think we can sit it out for the voters that may be affected. Who wants to change or who are different boards or.
And I will say on the city website,
website.
yes, sir, on the city's website, there is a board map, a color-coded board map that East Alabama did create for us, so you're able to see exactly where you are, and it does list what the polling locations are. And there is a disclaimer, so when you go to the website and get to that board map, there's a disclaimer that first pops up that lets you know this is strictly for the city elections. Because sometimes people get confused with the city election and the election of the county and so on. Right. So that is in there.
That's supposed to be. We can push that out too.
Yeah.
Make sure people are aware.
And also for mayor and council, I'm not sure if you are aware, Jackson did create a page specifically for election information on there. So a lot of that information that's on the website is on the Facebook page too. Because sometimes people don't check the website, but they check Facebook, so that information is there.
That's good. Before we move on to city manager updates, I just wanted to give a couple of things. I should have this on here. Per some of the conversations we had at the last work session, we will be meeting with Alabama Power next week to discuss our master lighting agreement. So we will give you guys an update as soon as we have one available. And then also last week we met with an engineering consultant regarding the potential plan for road maintenance. So as soon as there is something established for them to present to you all, we'll be able to do so. That's all.
Yes, sir. So, and maybe to Ms. Michelle, in front of you is fiscal year 2024 financial statements. That information is on the city's website. That's the bound copy. And then also, you have in front of you fiscal year 2026 proposed budget as well. That will be presented at your next council meeting for the vote. But this is just so you all have the opportunity to come look over everything. If there's changes that you all want to see, you have the opportunity.
Any questions or concerns related to anything on the agenda?
Let me express my solemn, I look at it, but I'm looking for there.
It's okay. It's okay.
So, I'm sorry, please forgive me.
Yeah. We usually make it 5, and I was kind of surprised we make it 4:30 as well. And I couldn't look at it.
So it's just depending on the size of the agenda. If we have presentations or additional items, we need time for it. So.
And it's really.
So that we all
It's got my
It's okay. All right, any other questions or concerns? All right, we will keep this until 5:30.